Unfortunately, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center and anyone else who's tracking it, hate crimes are on the rise during Trump era. They explain that according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Independent does, 1,051 hate crimes were reported in the month following Donald Trump's election. Now that's a lot. And former white supremacist Chuck Leek, who now works to combat this rise of white supremacy, says the white supremacist movement is far more active in the last 6 months than I have seen it in 10 or 12 years. Now, look, they already got super active under Obama. They'd been dormant before, and they still existed. But under Obama, they rose to new levels because they had something they really motivated them to fight back. And then Barack Obama made a terrible mistake. There was a report that was prepared under George W. Bush that explained that right-wing extremism was on the rise, and that was leading up to the election and even before that, right? So it had been dormant for a while, started to rise at the end of Bush, and then really takes off under Obama. But the report was prepared under Bush. Obama releases it, and the right wing gets really mad. They're like, "Oh, how dare you talk about right-wing extremism? This is a plot and a conspiracy against Rush Limbaugh and Fox News." And Obama, as usual, buckled under the pressure and decided to actually lower the funding of groups inside the government looking to fight against right-wing extremism and terrorism. Now, that's a terrible idea, but at least the group still existed until now. So Donald Trump has reportedly frozen $10 million of grants destined to counter violent extremism in the US. More than 30 organizations were pegged by former President Barack Obama's office to receive funding, although the White House has since put the grants on hold pending review. You want to fight right-wing white extremism? That's Donald Trump's base. Why would he agree to that? He's going to cut all of your funding. The Trump administration was reportedly pushing to erase neo-Nazis and white supremacists from the US government's counter-extremism program in February by moving it to focus exclusively on Islamist terrorism. Now, the reality is that right-wing terrorism in America kills far more people. There's far more attacks than Islamic extremism. Does that mean that we should only focus on right-wing extremism? Of course not. Any rational human being would say, hey, the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, etc., should look at all of the threats, whether they're coming from Muslims, left-wing groups, right-wing groups, who cares? Our job is to keep people safe. But no, under Obama they got reduced, under Trump they're like, no, don't even look at the right-wing extremists. Don't look at neo-Nazis. Don't look to see if they might cause violent acts. Only focus on Muslims, even though we know that form of extremism in the US leads to a lot less attacks. Who cares about facts? Who cares about keeping people safe? Remember, he said he was a law and order guy. Doesn't care. All he cares about is his own political base and ideology. And if it's filled with neo-Nazis, well, then he's going to make sure that they get away with it. And again, that's not me. He's the one defunding them. So if you get mad about how he's helping neo-Nazis get away with things, don't get mad at me. Get mad at him. He's the one defunding those programs. All right, finally, the reclassification would remove its work combating far-right attacks and mass shootings, such as the massacre of black churchgoers in Charleston, which are rarely classified as terrorism by American authorities. So, mass shootings, I know, the right wing thinks, oh, that's awesome, it's gonna lead to more gun sales. Unless, of course, it was one of your family members who got shot, then it's not that awesome. But it doesn't matter, we're not gonna study that anymore, and we're not gonna pursue it or track it. And right-wing terrorism, we won't even call it terrorism, and now we won't even investigate it. Given that that is a much larger problem in America, well, we're all a lot less safe under Donald Trump now. But the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists voting for Donald Trump must be ecstatic. I guess mission accomplished. Our reporter Jordan Chatton broke the Donna Brazile story. He was right, she just apologized for it. Help us get more reporters like that. You're the one responsible for that. Thank you, and let's do more right now at tytnetwork.com/go.